You are on the two committees, the Budget and the Ways and Means Committee, which arguably are the things that the Constitution refers to when it says Congress has got to meet at least once a year to appropriate funds for the operation of the government. It's a constitutional responsibility that is given to members of Congress. But what we've seen play out in the last 19 days, and in particular in the last week with Elon Musk and Doge, is not that. We're seeing something else happen. So if we want to have real arguments about where money should be saved or spent, it is on the committees that you populate and in the halls of Congress, not with Elon Musk and Doge.
That's absolutely right, Ollie, and I really appreciate the focus that you have in informing the American people about this. You know, Trump and his minions say they want to flood the zone with one authoritarian move after another, and we have to build the dam to contain those floodwaters and to push them back. He is really on a path to tyranny, in addition to the actions that you just mentioned that he's already taken. Yesterday, it was cutting almost in half the employees of the Centers for Disease Control, just as we could face future pandemics and other public health measures. Last night, Elon Musk, just as he did for the Agency for National Development, he announced the death sentence for the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, an entity that delivered about $21 billion in relief to American consumers, and Russell Vought declared himself to be the new head of that office. The way we have to fight back, I believe, is to litigate, legislate, and motivate. And all of those things we need to be doing at once. The legislative part could come up again as early as this next week on the Budget Committee as we consider the Republican budget, soon thereafter on the Ways and Means Committee, because all of this, as with the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau change, is about protecting the billionaire class. They want to adopt their additional tax breaks for the billionaire class, and all of this is the groundwork for doing that, as well as for making Donald Trump the true tyrant of our country.
Yeah, I'd love people to just look up the CFPB if they haven't done so and tell me what part of lowering the fees that you pay on your mortgages, lowering the fees that you pay to banks, lowering overdraft fees, getting rid of junk fees is the part that you'd like Elon Musk to take away or Russell Vought to take away.
Exactly.
Joyce, let's talk about. There's a legislative stuff that Congressman Doggett talked about, and then there's the legal stuff. Putting aside the Justice Department, the FBI, and the retribution that's going on over there right now, one thing we have seen a lot of in the last 19 days is lawsuits. And some of them are making some ground. Nothing has been taken off the table that Donald Trump is trying to do, but there have been some TROs, there have been some stays, there have been some things that they've got to have hearings on. Talk to me about pull back and just tell me how you're evaluating the legal world right now. What we have, in fact, at the moment is a 19-state lawsuit against some of the stuff that Elon Musk is doing. We've had lawsuits having to do with birthright citizenship, about the freezing of funding. About this landscape.
What we're seeing the Trump administration do is stuff that belongs in the congressman's lane. It's political policy-making decisions that you and I may not like, but that's within the administration's power. Where the lawyers are jumping in is where Trump and in many cases Musk are exceeding their legal authority. And then the lawyers are going to court, for instance, with birthright citizenship, saying that Trump can't constitutionally eradicate something that's in the Constitution. What we're seeing with Doge are a variety now of lawsuits arguing that what's happening exceeds powers, violates individuals' rights, is not in the United States' best interests. And you're right, Allie, we're seeing some early successes in these cases, but these are just procedural moves. A number of federal district court judges have now frozen the status quo in place. They're saying that nothing can change. Most notably, in the wee hours of this morning, a federal judge said that Elon Musk's folks who are inside of the Treasury Department's payment systems have to stop what they're doing, have to destroy all of the information that they may have already made copies of. This is just freezing the status quo in place so that the litigation can get rolling. And if you'll let me, can I just underscore one point the congressman made about CFPB, which as a U.S. attorney, I repeatedly turn to for assistance in protecting citizens. And one example that's so powerful is with the payday lenders who charged usurious rates of interest on loans that they were getting It was tough to get out. The CFPB was the agency that got thousands of citizens out from under that. I mean, this is really destructive for American people.
Congressman, again, one of the reasons I wanted to talk to you, and you and I have had this conversation before, every American deserves to have their tax dollars spent efficiently. I, like everybody else, surprise, surprise, would like to lower taxes if I could. But we have a system in Congress. You on the Ways and Means Committee and on the Budget Committee, you can discuss these things. You can debate them. You can hold hearings. You can have Americans say this is a priority or this isn't a priority. This doesn't have to be done outside of the government.
That's absolutely right. And the Congress is constitutionally given the power of the purse. And what Elon Musk and dismissing employees and Russell Vought and Donald Trump are trying to do is to take that power for themselves. Unfortunately, our Republican colleagues, we've had many profiles in cowardice over the last couple of weeks. They're not interested in asserting their rights. The lawsuit that Joyce just mentioned that's so important shows the interconnection between the litigation and the legislation. That lawsuit, it got a temporary restraining order to prevent further access and the destruction of documents about access to the records of every single American, personal records, healthcare records, financial records. We don't know what use Elon Musk may choose to make of that, but this restraining order is important, but it only lasts for about another week.
Yeah.
I have filed or will be filing together with my Ways and Means colleague a rarely used tool called a resolution of inquiry that's designed to get all of the information about how this came about and what information Elon Musk had and who had it. Apparently, one of the people involved was a 25-year-old who was dismissed for his racist comments and his claims that only white men could get things done in denigrating women. And Donald Trump's big success is that he's just rehired this fired employee who should have never been there in the first place.